All right. That's all right. I'm just want to make sure that we are live right now. So let me just take a look at the situation. Okay, let's see. Okay, cool. Right. We're live right now. Right. Good morning, everybody. I think this is gonna be super epic, right? I think we also want to make sure that today all of you are who are early morning risers like me, all right, you get to actually tune in. All right, so today we're gonna have a very exciting session to really highlight what is going to happen for the new launch segment. And today, I think one of the key things that I really believe that over this weekend, every one of us are so panicky. We are all rushing. There's a lot of FOMO effect going on. But of course, as a homeowner and as a home investor, as I call it, we also have to be very prudent in what we are doing. So I believe yesterday, a lot of people are scrambling to Trump Park show flat. Right? You mentioned the first day, 5,000 people actually went to view the show flat. And today will be Emerald of Katong, right? And then subsequently, we have so many others. So it was kind of a last minute announcement, and everybody is like mad rush, everything. And there's so many different projects lighting up. So if today you are really in the market, right, and you want to kind of pull the trigger, will you be actually worried that you'll be choosing the wrong type of properties or even the units facing the floor level or the type of layout that actually is suitable for you, be it whatever reason, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty also, right? Especially for new launches like this for balloting. First of all, the uncertainty is the ballot number lah. Okay, you also don't know what's your ballot number. You only know usually about a day before or the day or two before the actual selection day. And also another uncertainty is you don't know what's the pricing from the developer. So if you have not done enough homework, then you're actually going in blind and you'll be in for a shock. Okay, and also another thing that most people they have all this kind of uncertainty is that they don't know what kind of premium amount are they going to put in on the facing, maybe the floor level. So that's where a lot of consumers get confused. And when they are on the day itself, when they are selecting, they panic and they anyhow choose because of the FOMO effect. The oven concept is really very real. And last but not least is perhaps the one that you've been looking up for, the project that you've been looking up for, is it really the right one for you? Or could there be other choices that you have not explored before and that's why you miss them out? So there's a lot of question and answers. And the key thing is that you need to get all these question and answers done before the 14 days preview. Usually it's always 2 weeks, with the exception. Later I'll share with you which development. They actually cut short the preview so that they can actually launch earlier. So how many of you comment in the section, right? Comment below, right? How many of you are going to put check in all the different projects, son? And then you just see which one you get the best valid number, and then you can determine. All right, so this is how I see, right? Because of the massive launch over this weekend, right? I think consumers will be confused, definitely. Agents also will be confused because they do not know what's going to happen. So that is not going to do well for both the consumers as well as the developer. Why do I say so? Because today, if let's say from a consumer mindset, right, you may want to just put check in every project log. If really you are just looking to purchase something, and whichever the better value number, then you go for it lah. So one of the key thing is the numbers will not be accurate, whether it's the viewership in the throughout the show flat, the number of checks collected also, I don't think it will be accurate because everybody will be putting in more than one in different locations for the project, right? So well, we're going to share a little bit more details later. All right, so this is a better of the launches, right? So again, I will not be covering everything today, and I'm going to really cover deep dive into the better of the new launches. And this is going to be interesting because if I go to cover everything, you're going to watch like 3-4 hours, like, which is what we are not going to do. Like, oh. So in case this is the first time joining us, my name is Coach Edmund Tan, and I've been actually doing property since 2009 as an advisor, as an investor, as well as a homeowner together with my wife, Cynthia. Right, so we not only do it for ourselves in terms of using our REM method framework, we have also helped hundreds of homeowners out there to grow their capital and elevate their wealth safely through the REM method. Right, so we've been very active in the market. We are not those who only have done it like maybe 10, 20 years ago. We have been actually actively looking to enter the market and exit the market as early and as young as like this year. Okay, so we have just released a couple of our units and we are re-entering into the market as well. So that's why a lot of the research and the terminology, the methodology that I'm sharing with you all through my videos and channel, we adopt it a lot on ourselves, and you will be able to see that actually we are very research driven, okay, very numbers driven, analytics, so that it can help us set another support before we even select any properties. All right. So if you want to follow on our property journey or some of the education that we push out, right, do actually click on the link so that you can subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to actually you enjoying the content that we actually put out to help you make better informed decision in property. So do subscribe, right? And we will also go through quite a fair bit of new launches property review and doing some comparison as well. So today I'll be covering 3 aspects. Okay, the first aspect is what are the 5 criteria to help you select which project is actually best for you. So later on, we'll be doing some comparison about the various key factors, and we're going to rank them up. Okay, we're going to rank them up and see which one actually, from a ranking perspective, right, come out on top. So that is actually very important, especially if today you're kind of set on a certain project, but you kind of know, is this really the best for me? Could there be other options? So today you can have a glimpse, not the full glimpse, of course, but at least you have some glimpse of how to actually look at projects and how are you going to compare, especially with this weekend. There's so many of them. Which one should you go for? And number 2 that I'm going to share with you today is the common traps homeowners are always facing whenever they're purchasing a new launch project like this during balloting. Okay, the common traps. And number 3 is the 3 points you must do even before putting in a check. So you must always have some backups, and we're going to go through all these things in a short while. So let me just share in the, let me just give me a second. Let me just start. So this is going to be a very exciting weekend, depending on how you see it. All right, because why we are going to have 6 different launches going to be out during this period, right? And the key thing is that today, out of these 6, all right, so out of these 6, right, we also can have a sense that, hey, actually developers are also panicking a little bit. They are like, scrambling things around. And one of the first one is we call, where is it? Union Square. All right, Union Square, they actually bring their preview, they bring their preview shorter. So instead of a normal 2 weeks, they actually do it in 1 week so that they can launch it much earlier than the rest of the big boys, right? So we have Chong Park, Emerald of Katong, which is one of the highest hype around. Wherever you go, coffee shop, uncle, auntie also know about this project. All right, so let me just make sure that you guys can see the screen. Let me see. Yeah, sometimes, oops. Okay, wait. All right, I don't think we can see the screen. So I just want to make sure that sometimes we do have difficulty doing some of all this, right? So just give me a second. Let me just sort this out and see what we can do. Seems that we're still in backstage. Well, the fact is that they recently just changed the structure, so just want to make sure that we are doing this correctly. I think I know why. Right. Okay, pardon for the slight hiccup. All right, and thanks for bearing with me. We all know sometimes. Uh, yes. All right. Cool. Now we can see each other. All right. I was wondering what happened here. All right. So basically, there's 6 launches coming out, right? And one of the key things that I always believe is that today don't make a hasty decision. Whenever you have this kind of big effects of properties around. And more importantly, is out of these 6, it seems like the developers are scrambling because for Union Square, as I shared again, Union Square itself, they actually bring forward their preview instead of normal 2 weeks. They actually do it in 1 week so that they can launch much earlier. So there's a lot of hype going on. And today, if let's say you are not careful, you may fall into the trap of the FOMO trap, I call it, because it's going to be a mad rush. It's going to be super chaotic, I can tell you. Even viewing the show flat, my suggestion is no need to rush because you have 2 weeks, right? Don't try not to go on the first weekend. It's going to be chaotic and you won't have a good experience. So moving forward, if you want to see any of all these 6 developments, right, do scan the QR code, reach out to us so that we can help you to book the most comfortable slots that you actually have a better experience. So sometimes I don't know why we just like to rush. Or you all seen what Trump Park, right? The queue. When actually the first weekend usually is like that, man. But if you are able to afford time, actually, especially during the weekdays, right, it will actually help a lot for you to actually enjoy viewing. So out of these 6, which one you're most excited about? Type inside the comment which one you're super excited. All right, so this is also one of the reason why I think that one of the key thing that I want to do videos like this to do comparison, because a lot of homeowners tend to make mistakes. They tend to fall into all this FOMO trap. And at the same time, they buying not just vegetables, right? It's really a big ticket item. So I remember there's one previous project, right? So I got a phone call in the afternoon, and the person on the other line, right, actually shared. They actually went to the ballot process, right, and then they get queue number 1. They queue number 1, and the next day they went down. You know what happened? They walk out. They not choose any properties. So I was shocked when I hear this when he called me, right? And what he shared was that during that process, even though he got ballot number 1, he was super excited. But the entire experience was not good for him because he's unaware whether the developer's price launch, right, is it actually safe for him? And also, he's very unsure about how he's going to exit from a certain price point. Like what kind of price should I buy? Which one is safer for me? If I buy a higher floor versus a lower floor, which one is better? Which kind of facing? Is the premium I should be paying worth it? So there's a lot of all this uncertainty and doubts. And that's why even though he got queue number 1 for one of the previous project, right, nobody is there to guide him on all this, the pricing, the facing, all this. And he felt very unsure and not confident. That's why he actually came up. And afternoon, he called me immediately. So if you ask me, this is what I will always want every one of you during this kind of FOMO and hype period. Um, don't let your emotions take over. But it's very, very painful if you really go in with no knowledge and you don't know what's happening. You will be ending up choosing a wrong property, and the last thing you want is you buy already, then you reach out to us. Okay, why not let's do it and get a second opinion beforehand. So at least you feel safer. You get all your options discussed before you move on. So there's always a saying, right? That don't move until you see it. All right. You don't want to take action if you cannot see what is happening. So I guess the buyer who got Q number 1 was unable to see his move, which is why I always share, always be overly prepared. Kiasi a little bit, kiasu a little bit, doesn't matter. For property, I'd rather do that. Or not after. So actually, eventually after that, we immediately the next day, we actually spent 3 late nights, okay, from about 10 p.m. all the way to 1 p.m. with the family, right? To really speed up our RAF process, right? To condense a lot of the information that they should know, to get themselves educated and understand what is happening with the property market, what are the possible routes and options that they can do, their finances, before they execute purchase it. So want to make a guess, did we buy back the same project in the end? All right, actually don't have. Okay, and at the end, we did not choose the project. They actually got ballot number 1. Also, we actually choose something else, which is safer from a research perspective data. We find that entry is definitely safer and they can actually hold on to it for a midterm arrangement, which is their timeline. Yeah, so during the project preview stage, right, these 2 weeks, give yourself the time to really research, to really find out a little bit more, do your work before you even put in your interest. This is what I would suggest. So a lot of people will say that, hey, I just put in the interest first lah, then I can decide later. But I mean, why would you want to do something and then you kind of panic, right? So I will always say that do your research first before you put in your interest, because you definitely want somebody capable enough beside you to help you make that selection to work with you. All right, so this is very important. So, and also somebody is there to tell you, there to walk it off. All right, if the prices, the facing, or your better number, or the unit that you are supposed to select is not good enough, right? That somebody has to tell you to walk away. And the question is, do you have somebody like that? how many of you agree? All right, like for example, like Winston, right? Uh, a couple of time before, right? Actually, when they wanted to uh do this process of purchasing, right? They were also wondering like when to buy, where to buy, what to buy, rent or to buy new ones, right? So they didn't want to make a mistake buying the wrong property. All right. So of course, when they came on board on our one-on-one consultation, all right, we basically help them to understand the real estate environment, right? With all the fees, all the finances, all this done. So the key thing is that we are not basically pushing any piece of properties, because our role is what, as an advisor, as a consultant, is to help you see different perspective of property. Perhaps there are better options that you're unaware of, because you're a tunnel vision, right? If you want something, you only want to look at that thing. So on our end is we are not here to make decisions for you all. We are basically to facilitate, provide you alternative concepts, a lot alternative perspective that maybe you haven't seen before. Right. So we use a lot of research data and numbers to provide a deeper understanding, even going into the transformation of Singapore. And then we use data-driven approach to help you make a better decision. All right. So Winston himself, he gotten out a lot. And during our selection process, even to shortlist the potential units so that they are well prepared for the bidding process. And this is very, very important. A lot of homeowners, they go in, they will just pick any random agent and then they just go in. And likely they haven't really do much research. They just based on two things: the unit I want and my price. That's it. But I believe there's a lot more to look into it. So later on, you have a glimpse of some of the comparison. How do we actually select out of the three projects, right? Which one is a better option in terms of ranking? Also, it's quite fun later on. So later on, at the end of the day, they bought the property, all right, and they were very confident and comfortable with their decision. So this is something we want. We want you to be very comfortable and confident, not buy already and at night you nudge your spouse, hey, actually, did we buy correctly or not? At the moment you start thinking of that, then you are in for a surprise, because that means you haven't done enough homework. So always ask yourself, have you done enough? You rather be kiasu kiasi to over prepare than not. So this is just a quick overview about all the different projects, all the different prices. All right, so for of course, if you are looking at studio, the only one is at One Sophia. All right, so this is the OOP Center. They will have about 68 units of studio types ranging from 1.14 million. And if you are looking, so most of the developments right now, they really don't do much one bedroom anymore. So this one is something that you have to take note of. The only one that you can go for is, of course, Emerald at Katong, as well as Union Square and Collective, if you want to look at this kind of price point. So this one, you can just get a screenshot, but just take note, all the prices here are from, that means it will be starting from this kind of pricing. So, I mean, this is also a marketing approach, marketing gimmick, right? Developers will definitely put the lowest price, lowest PSF to draw your attention to see that how cheap it is. Or we're not saying that they don't have such units. Okay, but the numbers are usually very small. It's really to draw attention in the public, right? So that because out of six, right, how do you choose? You definitely go for the pricing sensitive units, right? Wow, suddenly so cheap. If I compare A and B, wow, B is so cheap, it's so much cheaper, then it will actually draw your attention a little bit more. So this is usually how marketing works. All right, so my role is really to kind of get you out from all these noises and start looking at it from a very data-driven perspective in support of your own requirements and your own criteria. So let us make a guess. Out of these three, right, which one do you all think will get the highest sales during launch? Come on, type in your answers in the comment. I think this will be quite fun to actually kind of understand. Now, I have my own theory about these three. Yeah, so we're going to do a comparison among these three because it's everybody's guess, right? So the question is when they pile all the launches together, right, is it a good thing for consumer or not? Okay, so ultimately, if you ask me, consumers will be confused. It will be whether it's FOMO or lack of knowledge, they will not be able to make better decisions. Okay, so I believe this time around, there'll be even more people making mistakes. Okay, so previously there was also similar situations and we got so many inquiries, right? People coming in after they purchase and ask us, did they buy correctly or not? Okay, by then you will already put in your deposit of 5%, right? Even if you want to give up, okay, let's be real. Money is also money, right? Will you want to give up 1.25% because of that? All right, so why do you want to go through the pain of having doubts when you can actually do it beforehand now? Or because all the hype and FOMO is very real one, very, very real. You'll be so confused and worried because you'll be like, oh, I have no chance to buy. Then I want to quickly go into it. This is where the mistakes come in the selection process. So I warn you all first, do it before overly prepared. So the big question is, how do you decide among these three? They are like all the three of them, same, but different. So we're going to do an overview among all these things first. So again, I will not be covering all the micro details, or that one. I think you all already can memorize reading up all these things online, like the developer, size of development, all the projects, all these things. So we just give you a summary. But I want you all to stay all the way to the end because throughout this entire session, right, I will be ranking them on the different aspects of each project. Okay, and to see kind of have a clearer and informed decisions. Of course, there are more criteria than this, but I pull out the five that I believe is a very key comparison. All right, so number one, you all want to write this down, all right, is out of these three, the future potential of each development. We're going to cover a little bit on the master plan. We're going to cover the transformation side. And out of these three, which one ranks better? And number two, we're going to cover MRT effects. Number three, we're going to cover school effects. Number four, we're going to do a price gap analysis. This one, very, very important. You all really want to stay all the way to the video because this price gap analysis is something that a lot of people missed out. Okay, and they couldn't see whether, hey, should I buy this property at this kind of PSF or not? If this one compared to a resale, for example, what is the premium I should be looking at? So these are all question marks that if today you are not diving into numbers and data, right, you will definitely be lost. And the fifth most important thing we're going to cover is layout comparison. So let's say today money is not a concern, right? And you intend to go and buy any of these developments, these three developments, and you don't know how to choose. We're going to dive deeper into layout, which one actually performs better. So let's do a very quick overview about these three. All right, so Chuan Park, of course, the preview has already started, and this one is at Lorong Chuan MRT. Okay, very very close by in the mass market OCR. All right, so this one will be TOPing about maybe 2008 with 916 units. Okay, and you all know the developer is Kingswalk, who has done Momentum Park, Kingswalk Water Bay. All right, although they have gotten some issues previously, but I believe from the results of Momentum Park, the quality and everything and finishing. If you ask me, I think Chuan Park will be very similar to Normanton in terms of the way that they structure their layouts and their design, their quality and everything. Because it's quite cool. All right, and of course, being a leasehold property, this is with a car park of 734 units. All right, so it's not a one-to-one. So averagely now developers only build about 70 to 80% in terms of car park space. Okay, then the next one, of course, we have Emerald of Katong, which is today. All right, today they are starting this very premium property in the very sought after District 15 at Tembusu site. All right, so the nearest MRT is Jalan Tembusu, which is what they say about 5 minutes walk. Yeah, 听听就好. Okay, I think 5 minutes, even if I'm very tall and I got long legs, I don't think 5 minutes can do it. But developers say 5 minutes, we take it 5 minutes. All right, units 846. So Chuan Park and Emerald Katong are considered some of the bigger developments for this launch. And why these three are very popular, or should I say I bring these three out to compare, because in terms of sizes, in terms of the quality, in terms of the type of profile for buyers, I think today, if you are a certain group of buyers, you will always look at this tree, and maybe it's tough for you to decide. And that's why I want to do this to help you out a little bit. So the number of car parks is also not 100%. And more importantly, is that today, for Emerald Katong, is by a very reputable developer, Symbian. All right, they have done quite a fair bit. The latest one being Treasure and Tampines. And if you have seen, they also just recently bidded successfully a EC plot at Tampines. All right, so they are very consistent, right, in terms of their launches and the quality and everything. So there's one thing that I always believe that because Symbian kind of is a very mass market, and this is one of the very rare times they go into RCR, which is in the prime E some more. So this is something that we want to have a look later on. All right. So the third one is Nava Grove, which is happening a couple of days later. All right. So this one is a totally different, a little bit different in terms of type of properties because they are not so near MRT, but they are in mass market. So they are a little bit more premium, a little bit more atas kind of development. And why we want to bring this into comparison is because I believe this is like an underdog. There's a certain traits that Nava Grove, a lot of people missed it out. But of course, later on through the ranking that you all will see and understand better. So each type of properties have their own, what you call it, fancy, will have their own fancy lah. Very particularly, location is still a key, and generally 90% of home ownerships, they always buy back where they're most familiar with, where they're comfortable with. So those who like Serangoon area, they'll buy Chuan. All right, those who are like die-hard Eastie fans, right, they will buy Emerald Katong. And those who prefer the quiet, very tranquil kind of location near Henry Park, right, then they'll go and buy Nava Grove. So that is based on preference. That is based on familiarity. But today, if we base on that, then actually my job also easier lah. We just based on where we prefer lor. But this is also, this video is really for those who like, okay, I want to understand a bit more. How do I do comparison? So we're going to deep dive into each individual projects. And if you want a little bit more deeper study of each of them, right, do check out my other videos. I have done in details of each individual project, so you can actually find them out. All right, so first of all, we want to look at what future potential. All right, what is the future potential? This point number one, right? So always remember one thing: you must always buy with the intention to sell. Okay, I say again, buy with the intention to sell. Be it whether you tell me, hey, man, I'm actually buying for own stay, I'm going to stay here very long. Yes, I totally understand. 10, 15 years later, 20 years later, yes, you buy and you stay on. But there will be a time, okay, be it what age, you may also want to look at how are you going to exit from this property, because this is a very key indicator that we always advise our clients on as we plan a property. Also, let's look at Chuan Park first of all. Okay, so basically there are a few things going on in the Chuan. All right, so some of the key things is, of course, it's very near to the MRT, which everybody knows really. So I don't want to touch on all this stuff. So one of the things is that today, Chuan Park, I want to use density to compare. Why? Because I always believe today, being in a concrete jungle, or you want to have some space, or you want to have some space in your development so that when you come back home, hey, you feel calming down, you feel more relaxed, and it's not like coming back to a concrete jungle, the way that you went to office in a 4x4. Okay, 4 wall by 4 wall, what I mean. All right, so for the Chuan Park, is the density divided by the plot of land, and the number of units is about 545 square feet per unit, which is very decent. Okay, very decent. And I share with you the reason, the why, because throughout our comparison, there are a lot of developments right now, they are not even getting 500 over. Okay, so let us take a look at the older properties around, and then from there you can see. Of course, these are all older. You can see this one, TOP 1995, 500 units, also a leasehold property. Their density is much, much bigger. So we must understand the older the property is, you have more landscape, you have more greeneries. It's very normal. So we cannot say that, oh, I want to get back a density size like this. All right, so it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible unless the developer don't want to make money out from the development. All right, so Chiltern Park is already since 1995 TOP. That's why the density is quite comfortable. And this is, you can see, is quite a big plot of land also. Next, of course, we have Spring Bloom. Okay, Spring Bloom is 1999, which the density is about 700. So you can see those around the 90s, their density level is about 700 plus. So I've done research on a lot of different properties. We realize at different age group, their density space is very different now. Or then now we come to this period, you will start seeing the density get smaller and smaller, because why? Land are scarce, land are getting smaller. And that's why one of the key things, the important is that today, how can we enjoy the lifestyle if we only have concrete jungle? That one is also something that we have to take note of. All right, then moving forward, we have Golden Hill Park. Okay, Golden Hill Park, TOP 2004, about 390 units, density about 671. So you can see that it gets smaller and smaller as the age. as we come nearer and nearer to the recent years. Then the Scala, which is one of the latest launch, which is 2013, at 468 units. Density, you can start to see suddenly shrinks down so much. Okay, so Scala is not a big plot of land, but it was quite high rise, right? So it's kind of the density is actually smaller. Right, so versus all this, versus Chuan Park, actually, Chuan Park doesn't seem that bad anymore. So I was actually quite surprised that for Chuan Park, they actually managed to reconfigure it to create this kind of density, which is why I do salute Kingsport, even though they have a bad rep last time. But I think they have since pulled up their socks to do much better so that they can impress more Singaporeans. Uh, let's not let's ignore the past and everybody have a chance to improve. So I'm actually quite excited to see how this development is going to turn out. I've seen all the three show flats. I have my own assessment on how is it. So you'll be good better about these three. Okay, these three bigger launches. All right. But of course, in the meantime, if you still want to look at Union Square or One Sophia, all these things, you can actually reach out to us. We can actually help you more. Also, but one thing you must understand for this, right? Out of this location, there's going to be Chuan Grove GLS that's going to be launched. Of course, slightly further away from the MRT. Okay, and they're going to have the tender by December. Okay, by December, and pardon some of the typo. So likely this is going to add on another additional maybe 550 units only. So it's not going to be like crazy big into the supply and demand. We will cover later supply and demand as well. We're going to go specifically into certain locations, what is the supply and demand, so that we can do some price gap analysis later on. And for these units, you're about 10 minutes to the MRT, so you're further away from the Chuan Park, and the density is even much smaller. So if today you're already aware that, hey, there's going to be a new GLS tender soon, right? That is 10 minutes away. That's why I believe Chuan Park will actually have quite a good response and definitely oversubscribed. Okay. And because this is smaller, density is tighter, further away from MRT. So if today given a choice, you will want to go for Chuan Park. But that says developer also not stupid. They also know, right? Oh, there's going to be one that is further away. Then I can actually call more premium. So always take note, developer buy the land price cheap doesn't mean they will sell you cheap because they are in business. Okay, they also want to have different ROI. They have shareholders to answer to. So we just have to make sure that from an emotional perspective, we remove that out and we use research to determine if the price point is correct. So later on, as we go through price analysis, you will know what I mean. All right, so again, must understand Chuan Park is not under harmonization. All right, it's an en bloc process, but in future, Chuan Grove is going to be. So take note, because there later on, as we compare the layouts for harmonized and non-harmonized, you will see which one is better. So continue watching. All right, so let's now move forward to take a look at Chuan, right? Just to give you an idea. So this is Chuan Park. Okay, this is Chuan Park. All right, of course, in front is Chiltern. And what we have is that today they have this new Techno. Okay, so they just actually just do this. Yeah, so they have this was actually just ready, and there's a lot of food and all these things there. So another key thing that we realized from the master plan is that you have to take note of this location. So Chuan Grove is here. Okay, this is Chuan Grove. Okay, the GLS. So there's another secondary part here. And if you can see in terms of zoning, this also becomes a residential, this also becomes a residential. So in a way, future, there will be 3 more plots coming up. So this gives us a good hedge over my future plans also. But so why is this important? Because a lot of key things, everybody will show you the master plan and say that, oh, because there's a 3 plots potential. Also, that means when you buy today, it'll be cheaper and future launches will be higher in terms of pricing. But also take note, because of harmonization, right? The PSF is definitely going to be lower, but doesn't mean that their quantum when they sell is also higher later. So one thing that I like to stress is that today, do understand, Australian International School currently actually covers this A&B. Okay, they take this plot. So let me just, so they're actually international school and they just moved there 2016. In 2016. So they just moved. So is it any time in the next maybe 2 years, 1 year, that all this plot will be released for sale. That's why my question mark is I don't believe so, because usually educational area, right, it will actually prolong quite a long time. So if let's say today we just bank on, oh, today there's 2 more plots coming up, and then we keep selling there, I don't think that is right. Nothing firm, then I will not usually put that into consideration, but I will take that as part of my research now. That at least we know this is going to happen. It is the release zone as residential, but let's see what happens in the next master plan. All right, so this is very important. So you need to be very careful about, sometimes everything is also residential and then you assume it. And this happens a lot of times for a lot of projects that I see. So we have to be a little bit more prudent. All right, sometimes a little bit too far off, or should I say the developments will not be so soon, right? Maybe, I don't know, 10 or 20 years later. So we cannot determine that. So do we want to still take that as part of our decision making? So that is something that we need to be careful about. So there's a lot of unknown. Or when will it be tendered? When will it be launched? Some sites can take years. And you're waiting for the future developments. Is it worth the time? All right, so let's study more on other sites. So let's all move forward now from D19 to D15. All right, so D15, of course, we have the Emerald of Katong, all right, by Sim Lian. And this plot is actually Tembusu Grand. Okay, this is TG, Tembusu Grand, this Emerald of Katong. All right, so one of the key things that you must understand that today for the older property, which is Head Court. Okay, Head Court is here. All right, Head Court is an older property at 2004. So they also have a very comfortable density, about 585. So can you imagine the Head Court that is older properties in Chuan Park, which being new, right? They are holding on to almost the same density. So of course, location is different now, because in the east side, generally they are highly density. That means there's the properties are a little bit more tight to each other. But that's where you get the vibrancy, you get the easty kind of vibe. All right, those who are Easties, you all will know lah. A lot of people always talk about the Easty vibes, and once I stay in East, I will not move away. That kind of environment, right? But it's definitely more concrete or in this location. So really depends on how you see. If today this is your first time going to East side, you may also need to take this into consideration. It's going to be an urban jungle. All right, urban jungle. So the density wise is going to be very different. Because why? You can see Tembusu Grand immediately drop from 585 density to 330. Okay, 330. So this Tembusu Grand, of course, there are still units selling, and with 638 units, it actually comprises of quite a fair bit in terms of the bedroom types also. And then now we come into Emerald of Katong. Can you see the difference in terms of Emerald of Katong density? It drops tremendously, even though they just launched 1 year later. So this is something, if you ask me, as a buyer, you also need to consider lah. Because I think many people have understand, like for Treasure and Tampines, the latest launch, the layout and the structure is very similar. So it's a winning formula in Treasure, right? Which means mass market definitely can accept. But so the question I have in mind is that how will the city fringe homeowners that can pay a premium take in this kind of design? It's not layout, all right? It's functional. I definitely give it to Sim Lian. But if let's say if you want a more premium product in terms of layout, you want more landscaping, definitely this is something you need to consider, because it will not be providing you with a density of only 261. All right, so it's block to block facing each other. All right, so of course, one key thing that EOK Emerald Katong does have an advantage is that it's also very near to the MRT lah. Or 5 minutes walk is developers say one. Developers say one now. But let us look at the future capability of Katong area. Yeah, so here you can see that today, of course, we have the E. This is all schools lah. E is considered a school, so we have Tanjong Katong Secondary School and Tanjong Katong Girls School. Then future right now, right, this is a part of it is a car park. It's definitely already zoned for residential. Same thing. When is it going to happen? We don't know. And then we have DG here and Hip Hop. Then you have Emerald Katong. So take note that in front of Emerald Katong, today when you're choosing a property, you must also take note that because there's also going to be another plot of land that's zoned for residential. Again, when will it be launched? Nobody knows. And this area is basically the black and white facing. Also, we must think on some of what is aspect. So the plot in front of Emerald Katong is a 3.5, so which means that they are able to build the same height as Emerald Katong. So just take note, if let's say today you're choosing a certain project, yes, you may be getting the unblocked view right now, okay, but in time to come, what's going to happen inside the residential site, you need to take note. So for more in-depth my analysis about this, you can check out one of my other videos that specifically talk about Emerald Katong. Right, so very important because so one of the key things that you must know that today Emerald Katong, they also need to do up a park, okay, in conjunction with it. So this why do I want to share with this? Because everybody is saying that hey, they bought 18% cheaper than Tembusu Grand, or even 20, and then 20% cheaper than Grand Diamond. So their launch price is going to be cheaper. All right, actually in East Side, nobody likes things cheaply. Or the more expensive the better, right? More premium. So in any case, Emerald Katong, right, is the first harmonization in Katong, right? And also because of the park, right, also take note that cost is going to be involved, like your construction cost, your levy, stamp duty, everything also increase really. And they have to what? Have build a park and maintain the park some more. So all these are additional costs which definitely will be transferred to consumers. So on the surface, yes, they will be able to actually launch cheaper because they buy cheaper, but there's also other factors we must take note of. All right, important. Yellow site is a reserve site, so too small to do anything. I don't want to touch on that. But I think one key thing that you must know very well is, let me just use a different color on this. Okay, this H. Okay, H is the nursing home. So for now, if you go there, you will see it is a low rise. So if you're choosing EOK, and you're kind of facing, you say, oh, because it's low rise, I want to choose that so that I can have unblock. This is where you have to be careful, why? Because we already have went through our URA space go, and this is going to be a 9-story, building. Okay, 9-story in front of you, nursing home. So knowing this extra information does make a difference in terms of how you choose your property. Imagine if you go into this and you don't know about this 9-story, then you end up buying something facing there and boom, your view gone. Okay, even though it may be further away from the road, so because you can see the park and everything. Yeah, so go and see my other videos that I do a little bit more in-depth research on this. Okay, so question is this going to be a deal breaker for you, or so we must always take note of some of what it. So for this area, we have 2 plots that is kind of unknown. Okay, 1 and 2. So these are the potential plots that will be coming up. So next we move on to go to other area already now. Go to District 21. Okay, so of course for Nava Grove, we know that the density is very big. Okay, very big. This one is Pine Grove, older site. You can see that in the time they can even go up to 1,300 plus density. Okay, so this is definitely something very rare nowadays now. So as we get older, younger and younger, Ashtor Green, also 1,100 plus, you can see that the numbers keep dropping down in terms of the density, as well as Cavendish Park. All right, so the actual supply in this area is actually very low. And later on, we will come and see. So gone are the days where you have big land and then lesser units because we just have to accept the whole. And Pandan Valley, okay, so you can see, wow, from 1996 to 1997, suddenly the numbers go from density 800 to 500 plus. So string some more. Then what happened to the recent projects? Trizon. Okay, Trizon still managed to hold it to about 676 in terms of density. Then, of course, we have the most recent Pine Tree Hill, density 400 plus, 466. And then Nava Grove beside it is at 489. So you can see that in a location like this, right, they're able to have a lot of greeneries. And if you have seen the show flat for Nava, I can tell you it's really, really beautiful. It's really for a different kind of profile of consumers and buyers. And it's, of course, density being density, it is comfortable. And for Nava is a density of 489 per unit. Of course, there's a lesser units. And if you compare to Chuan, right, Chuan Park is about 846 units, but they have a bigger density. So it doesn't mean that Chuan Park being a bigger, should I say, number of more units means that they're going to be more cramped. Actually, surprisingly, Chuan Park, I think they really done a good job in terms of providing the space. So in comparison to Nava Grove District 21 area, wow, that's why it's worth to actually take a look at all these three, all right, so that we can follow you through and then we can understand what's your decision making process like. Okay, so again for Nava, one thing is that there's a lot of plots. All you can see is residential, but this one you also have to be very careful because a lot of people they don't share with you, especially for this location. Because right now it is still a forest, or should be here. It's still a forest. So we already know that there's going to be the HDBs going to be built there. Okay, 4,400 BTOs launching in Dover. This is what we call Dover Forest, right? And if you can see, they already classified that this area is actually the HDB and then the HDB. So there's one area here that later on you can see from the master plan. All right, so it will look like this. So the HDBs are actually quite nice. Oh, all right. So if you look at the red color here, right, this is what we call mixed zone. Okay, so this is like for mixed development. So this area, right, I believe because it's also by the MRT, so they're going to definitely build residential and a little bit of commercial element inside. But one thing you must take note that this is subject to planning. Subject to planning means nothing firm yet. Okay, nothing firm yet. Okay, where is Nava? Nava is here. Oh, so in case you don't know, this is A plot. Oh, sorry, B plot. Okay, this is Nava Grove. Oh. So the Dover Forest is still subject to planning. So it's everybody's guess. So just in case, even though it's zoned for residential, at the moment, our understanding is this is going to be left undeveloped until 2031. What's going to happen after that, we don't know. Okay. Again, on the upper side, you can see a lot of subject to planning. So usually subject to planning, I will not take that into too much consideration. All right. For more details, you can check out my other Nava Grove video. I will just I'll just take it as a point blank that it's not going to happen in the next 5 years. Okay, I don't want to take that into part of my calculation consideration because I think it's going to be unfair. Every 5 years, master plan change, man. So things can be different. Okay, things can be different. Yeah, so we just want to make sure that today, both the when you are comparing master plan, do this again. Yeah, so you want to take note that today when you're comparing master plan, you cannot just take it point blank that, oh, because it's residential, then everything is going to be as it is. Okay, I think that is something that we have to be very, very careful about. Okay, let me just share my screen again. I think it just locked out. Right, cool. All right. So take note for things like this, I will usually not um worry too much. Let's wait for more news before we anchor it and let this be a factor or even add on a premium because of the residential sites. Okay, so always remember why we want to study about transformation or even sites nearby is because today we need to know how are we going to sell the property. We want to buy with the intention, sell. All right, so based on ranking, all right, so the lower number means the better lah. So we go on a 3-1 kind of comparison. So in the list, right, the number 3 is actually Nava Grove. Okay. Okay, so why? Because a lot of the plots are not firm yet. Okay, even the Dover Forest, all this, there's no news about all this. So there's a lot of uncertainty about whether all these plots are actually going to be done properly. So there's only one next development sites as planned in master plan, and most of it are all subject to planning. So we don't know how are going to change every 5 years. So we'll be monitoring it closer. And number 2, all right, is our Emerald of Katong. Okay, why? Because there are 2 more plots already being so-called confirmed and highlights the key point. But again, like I said, we don't know when, but we can already presume that because of Tembusu and Emerald Katong, chances are for them to release it within the next couple of years, right? It's going to be quite soon, so that they can inject more supply into the market because our population growth already increased. there may not be enough. So we are going to definitely be still seeing a lot more supply coming into the market. And every plot there, you can only do 500, 400 units. So it's going to be smaller and smaller, lesser units. Yeah, so there may be a lot of number of projects, but the number of units are actually not enough. So that is equivalent to our supply and demand situation. Oh, so of course, our number one is Chuan Park. Why? The only thing that why number one is because Chuan already have one being confirmed. So you kind of have a safety net. Okay, because it has been confirmed that the tender is start December 2024, right? So it's a sure winner. And at the same time, you have the support of 3 more plots. All right. Of course, I would say that the one beside Chuan Grove is more confirmed because it's just beside and it's also zoned as residential. The other two under the Australia school, that one I question mark. But they already zoned it with plot ratio or chances are also higher. All right. So the next thing that we want to look at is the MRT effect. So I want to quickly go through this, and I just want to run through a quick understanding. So for today, of course, everybody is saying, let us just go to our, let me see, let's just go to Google Map and we see how the MRT effect is going to be. So let us just check out from, let's say, Chuan Park condo, okay? Let's say we look from Lorong Chuan MRT. So we take Google as a guideline for all so that it's fair. So you can see that if you want to walk, it's only just less than 3 minutes. Of course, you have all the zigzag to walk in. That one really entirely up to you. Of course, this is the non-development site. So it really depends on which area are you exiting from, the side gates and everything. So it could be even shorter. All right, so here says 3 minutes. So we just take it as 3 minutes. So now we go to Emirate Katong. So Emirate of Katong. And then we go to the MRT is Tanjong Katong, right? Tanjong Katong. Okay, so not I say one, but Google say one. Okay, 14 minutes. So I seriously, I mean, I'm East, right? So I know the location very, very well. 5 minutes to 5 minutes go to opposite the what do you call it, Nasi Lemak also maybe 5 minutes Nasi Lemak can but to MRT we still need to cross the road, still have to wait everything. So take Google Map as a guideline but developers say 5 minutes, I give it to them 5 minutes. Or maybe you are very tall, or maybe you have very long legs, or you walk very fast, I don't know. Okay, so another one, let's look at Nava Grove. Okay, Nava. Okay, Nava Grove, as well as now, okay, of course, Nava Grove is not near any MRT, but the closest one, if you ask me, is actually the Dover MRT. You cannot walk, to be honest. So 20 minutes walk if you want to, and then you don't know how to cut. But those who are looking at Nava Grove area, right, you know already MRT is not one of your key factors. Okay, you're not looking at that. You're looking more on the area, the quietness, the premium tranquility part of it. So the question is MRT a deal breaker for you if you are choosing Nava? All right. More importantly, I want you to ask yourself is, how much do you actually value the MRT distance? How much do you want to put in as a premium? Because that is where it all comes down to prices, right? So every families have different criteria. Which is why when we are working with you before your balloting process, right, is to go through all these things. What are your criteria? What are your priority? All these things to help you make a better informed decision. It cannot be I want all 10 points all the same as my top priority. It's impossible one. So if you don't have anybody to guide you through, right, you'll be confused because one side you may say that, hey, this one need MRT leh. Wow, then the other one you say that, wow, this one the price so good. Then you'll be confused and you will walk out feeling very uneasy. So our role is really to help you make all these things before the selection process easier. So also, why do I ask about how much premium for MRT? Because in the past records, we do know developers, they also load. That means they add in premium because they know themselves that, hey, I'm near the MRT and all homeowners are looking for MRT. So I want to increase my PSF because the effect is there. So regardless of how much premium it is, I still want to buy because that's how usual consumers make decisions. So as a home investor that we are guiding you on our end is how much premium. Is $200 per square foot considered low? Is $500 per square foot considered low for the MRT? Yeah, so that's something that we also need to know a little bit better now. So one thing, also understand that today, does it necessarily means that you are near an MRT, your property can grow better? So this is also another question that you have to ask yourself. Does it make sense? It means today, if let's say the premium is $200 to $300 per square foot just because of the MRT versus other developments, right? Is it worth for me to pay this 200 to 300,000 more? Right? Because if it's 1,000 square feet, meaning you're paying 200 to 300,000 more for just the MRT that is nearer. So does it mean that when you pay this, your property will also grow much, much higher? All right, so this is something that you also have to ask yourself. And if you want, we can actually do a more deep dive into the specifics of it, right? But for this video, we don't have really that time to do that. So we can take this offline separately. Okay, so very important. If you want to pay that extra premium, just don't fall into the trap. If the premium is too high, you don't want to go into it. So how high is high? That one we will need to help you to do a research. Because there's a weightage for everything. MRT lah, facing lah, low floor, high floor, location. There's a lot of all these different weightages that you need to measure first. Then you will know how to decide the kind of premium. All right. So if you want a second opinion, do reach out. We will be more than glad to guide you. All right. So because of that, let us rank them in the MRT effect. So number 3, of course, Nava, which is far from MRT. You cannot walk 20 minutes. Emerald Katong, 5 minutes, developers say. So I use 5 minutes. Then, of course, Chuan Park being number 1, which less than 3 minutes. So this is what is happening. And one of the key things that we also must understand is today, we already look at the transformation future potential. That's the first point. Second point, we're talking about the MRT effect. Then third thing that I want to touch on is what? The school effect. All right, school effect. I mean, why do we have all these 5 criteria? This is just not the 5. There are more. We usually have at least a 15 checkpoint checklist to go through. But this 5 is generally how buyers behave. Okay, how your buyers behave, and why I need to help you all think about this. Remember, my thought process is always buy with the intention to sell. I also need to help you all to start thinking, next time when you buy this property, how are you going to sell to the next buyer? Because the next buyer potentially is also going to think the same way. So with these 5 criteria, right, it gives you a safety benchmark. That means at the worst situation, these 5 can support a normal consumer buying a property in future. Does it make sense? All right, so that is very important. Very important. All right, so let's go into the school effect. All right, so school effect in terms of Chuan, wow, more than anything else. Okay, so you have all the schools within 500 meters to even 1 km. How good are the schools? This one I have no comment. I leave it to you all. Everybody have their own preference of schools or location. So with primary schools, it's always a guideline. But I always say that, is this the biggest effect that we need to look into? It is a convenience perspective, or that means if I'm staying near the primary schools, it's easy for me to send my kids. But does it necessarily means your growth factor is going to be part of it? All right. So a lot of people use the school effect and says that, oh, if you buy, people will buy your property at a much higher price. No doubt for it, but also depends on what school. Okay, so for Chuan Park, you have quite a fair bit of schools here, which is quite manageable. And if you take a look at Emerald of Katong area, of course, this is something that we need to take note, because girls as well as Tanjong Katang Primary School, which is 1 km. Okay. The popular one, as per everybody says, popular one like Kwong Hua and Tao Nan are not. So one of the key thing that Emerald Katong potentially will, I won't say lose out lah, but it's just that one less school is because for Tembusu Grand, Grand Dunman, as well as the Continuum, they are all within 1 km to Kwong Hua. So with the additional 1 school in the other 3 developments, could you also have another more support in terms of your purchase? Of course, there will always be trade-offs. Do you want the school? Do you want the MRT? If you are further away from MRT, do you want, if you are in a bigger development with too many units, will you want the school or you want the lifestyle? So that's where we will help you all do comparison like a matrix or all. So generally, during the preview, before you all even put your check in for your selection process, we got time on, don't worry. we will do quite a fair bit in terms of at least 1 to 2 rounds or even 3 rounds sometimes depending to do all this understanding and fine-tuning of pricing selection process so that you are prepared when you go for better. Or the last thing you want is when you're in the queue, right, and then you panic, you don't know how to choose, you anyhow choose it. That is something that we don't want. So we will guide you along to make sure that it's safe for you in terms of entry. So next time when you want to also sell a property, who you look for? You look for us, right? Because we help you to select the right property, and it's so much easier for you in future to sell or even to rent out. So that's part of our business model. All right. So this is something important. So schools effect, I have my thought is there's also that number of slots every year for uh, the schools to take up, right? And with so many units, you're also fighting against a lot of people. So whether can you enter or not, that's a different story. All right. So let's go to Nava Grove. Okay, so Nava Grove. Okay, so this is something that I want to disclaim first. There's a lot of people are saying that Nava is near Henry Park, all these things, and even Pei Tong. Some of them are saying that. I want to clear this off. I a little bit more kiasi. I right now from a perspective of data research and also the the developers uh, updates, right? Both of them are actually not within 1 km. All right, so I just want to draw this one map to show you all. So where is Nava? Nava is basically here. Okay, Nava is actually here. So what map don't even show, so I don't dare to confirm. So what red color is actually 1 km, within 1 km, and blue color is 2 km. So for here, the Pei Tong is not. So I also don't want to confirm. Then for Henry Park also, if let's say we're talking about here, I also made some of them were saying some blocks will be within 1 km, some blocks is not. But since cannot confirm, I also don't want to commit. Okay, I think this is something we can just totally remove the school effect. So no school, no MRT can still buy. So easy. So that's why I say that there will be a weightage for every single things that you're looking at. You cannot have the best of everything, but if you are buying here, not for the schools, not for the MRT, like for me, I don't need then I'll buy because I enjoy the luxury space. I want the landscaping. I want a more quiet environment. I want to come back and feel like a home. Then I will go for Nava Grove. You see, but if let's say my kids are young and I want the convenience that hey, my kids go to school easily for MRT, then you definitely put more weightage in terms of MRT and school. So this is something that I base on the research analysis. No emotion, no personal preference, no nothing. And based on this, I will rank Nava 3. Okay, it's just that because there's no school. Okay, no schools, then I just rank no 3. And of course, Fun Park is 2 because the schools are there, there's enough, so you are not worried. And Emerald Katong being that there's a few more popular schools that people are more known for, and people move to the east really because of the schools. Okay, so this is something that you need to also acknowledge. All right, so for school thing, very subjective. I leave it to you guys. So even you're looking at schools, you're also looking for 6 years only, all right. So after the 6 years, then what happened? If they move to, let's say, Raffles, whatever, or Bukit Timah, then how? This property you buy, you sell, or you keep. You see, so although school is like a need when you are going to primary school, it is also a short term. Okay, 6 years is a very short term cycle, and you don't want to put all your eggs into one basket just for this school effect. The only consideration you want to really use school effect is if it's a primary school and secondary school all the way, right? Okay, like Fairfield, some of these schools, right? St. Andrews, then it's worth to invest in a property that you're going to at least stay for 10 years. If not, in between, if your kids move school to another secondary school, then how? What's happened to your property? So at every stages, you need to take into all this consideration before deciding. So sometimes don't put too much weightage on MRT, okay lah, that one give and take because it's for convenient, right? But the school effect, I believe, no need to put in so much emphasis. And the school effect is not going to increase your value for 20-30% immediately because just of the schools. So that one you have to be careful a little bit. Still, it's about your safe entry and how you exit later on. Very important. Okay. Right. So One key thing that we want to cover is, of course, the price gap analysis. So this is the fourth point, very important. All right, and then we want to start looking at two things, supply and the demand. So using supply and demand, we'll be able to determine, okay, how much of, because sometimes we're wondering, right, hey, there's so many properties in that certain location. With the new launches, is it going to increase the full capacity of supply? And because when there's oversupply, then will prices come down? So these are some thoughts that we have. And I just want to draw attention to so that we can actually see this live using our investment tool, and we will go into ProMap. All right, so using ProMap, right, we're able to determine the total number of properties in a certain zone. Okay, of course, we are not using like D19. D19 is too big. We want to zone in even deeper into the specific neighborhood. So let's take a look at Chuan, Lorong Chuan area. Okay, so we will go into the location and let's go to Lorong Chuan. All right, so what it does is it will actually bring kind of expand within 1 km, right, in Lorong Chuan area. And what are the developments out there? How many units transactions and how many units are for sale? So what I'm trying to do here is to determine, based on a supply and demand situation, how many people are actually selling a certain type of properties in this location. So let us just take a look. So this is within 1 km. All right. So what you have Spring Bloom, Amaranda, Chiltern Park, Go Hill. So all this you already see Mascala. So what we did was we actually combined all these number of units, right, to see what is the supply in this location. And using that, you can see that there's only how many listings? 22 listings out of the total number of units. If we, let's say we want to combine, so we combine the Chuan as well. Total number, we have about 2,025 units in the Lorong Chuan area. So even with Chuan Park coming in, it's additional 431. It's not going to make too much of a difference in terms of the supply. Right? So there's only 2,400 plus or 2,450 units in all in this prime location. Can you see? So there's actually, the supply is actually not enough. And within 1 km, there's only 22 listings for sale out of 2,000. I don't count the Chuan Park. I don't count first. I just count the rest, all the resale, right? About 2,000 units. So equivalent to about 1% only in terms of the supply that is for sale. So that's why when there's lesser people selling, that's why the demand, there's a high demand, right? That's why prices high. And I believe Kingsford, they know. The developer, they know. That's why I don't think Chuan will be launched cheap. Okay, when I say cheap, is that it's not going to be like, competitive among others, right? And later on, we will see, because of the pricing they buy also are very important, all these things. So if let's say this kind of area, you have only 2,000 units there, not a lot of people selling. So, but there's a high demand. Everybody wants that because MRT is there. Then what will happen to price? Okay, price will definitely be increasing. So that's why this is something that we need to look into. And I believe for the Chuan Park, the 3 bedrooms will be a very good take-up rate. Okay, very, very good. Because based on our research, there's a lack of 3 bedrooms there, a lack. And even though there are 3 bedrooms, they are the older ones, not so modern. So you want to keep a lookout for 3 and 4 bedrooms. Okay, so do give yourself some buffer. There are some layouts, there are some sizes. So you want to have a choice between the 3 and the 4 so that you can work out your sums a little bit better beforehand. All right, so this is something that you need to take note of. So let us move into Katong area. Okay, now let's go into Katong. Okay, so this one we go into Emerald. So we just use Tembusu Grand as a guide because they are just beside each other. Tembusu Grand. So from here we can see what are the developments around there. So of course, if we talk about 1 km and one thing why if you are using, even if you have the tools, you're seeing it wrongly, right? You don't understand the market, right? You may be seeing incorrect data. So for east side, we cannot use 1 km because 1 km is a very density area. There will be a lot more developments that's being covered. And you can see this one go all the way to even Port Yazoo, Waterbank and Lakota. So this is even Makina. So this is a too wide of range. So for east side, we need to always reduce the size so that we have a better sense of the numbers. So if you see, if let's say I reduce it to 500, this one will cover 1 amber already. 1 amber, can I compare it to Tanjong Katong? I know there are some comparison, people use 1 amber as a comparison, but to me, I think this is a little bit too far off. This is totally two different zones. So I will just want to maybe use about 400 meters. So at least we can capture the correct one along Tanjong Katong, which is Head Court, Chelsea Lodge, Ola Residences, Rose Mansions, Seraya Residences, right? So from here, right, you can see there's only 17 units for sale. Right now, these are all the resale properties out of these 6 projects. And total volume is only 1,169 units. All right, if you want to include, that one is 1,169 is including Tembusu Grand already. So with Emerald Katong of 846 units in this location, we're talking about close to 2,000. The impact is very, very minimum. This one is only about 1.45%. So which means that there's always not enough units for sale. That's why prices also went up. And especially in this market right now, a lot of homeowners replacement cost is a bit higher. So that's why they also chose not to sell. All right. So this is something that we see. So if you can see, even with Tembusu Grand, on the Continuum, as well as the Grand Diamond, right? The supply here is actually not enough one. So that's why people were saying that, hey, there's an oversupply in the east side. I personally, I've run through the entire D15. It's definitely under supply still. Yes, it will take a while for people to accept prices, but moving forward, my projection is the next 1 year, things will fly. So if today you are still sitting on the fence hoping that the prices will adjust themselves, I believe based on population, based on supply and demand that I study a lot, the prices cannot come down. Or it will grow, but may not be growing as fast as during COVID, but it will gradually still increase because people still are needing a home, a roof over their head. Very important. Okay, so now let's look at Nava. So with Nava, right, we use Pine Tree as the what do you call it? Pine Tree Hill, right? Actually, Pine Tree Hill. Yes. Okay. So for Pine Tree, also same thing. It's a bigger unit area, so it will cover quite a fair bit. Too far off, so I want to reduce the distance to about 600. All right, this will give an estimate numbers because there are older properties there, which means their developments are bigger. So I will look at about maybe 600 meters, and it will come out to a total of about 2,127 units. And surprisingly, in this location, there's actually more people selling. All right, I think chances are because older. So if in the older locations, maybe people want to try to sell, maybe they have fit their en bloc process, they don't want to continue waiting, they want to sell. So out of 59 units, we worked out to maybe about 2% in terms of the resale listings to the number of units. So with Nava and so Nava will come in additional units and as well as Pine Tree, right? So it will add on maybe about another 1,000 over to bring up the supply. All right. So of course, also take note that today the surrounding are older. So with Pine Tree as well as Nava, right, it will actually divert a little bit more attention to younger families who prefer the modern take. And they likely it's going to be like the second or even third generation of those who will be staying nearby. And they couldn't afford D9, D10, D11 area. They want to shift out somewhere close by. So that's why I believe Nava has their own very unique situations that I believe it will help a lot. Okay, so this is my analysis based on the supply and demand. And I also want to use this time to using this to do some price comparison. And I think this factor is very important because a lot of times when we are as homeowners, right, we don't know how much of a premium we should be paying. We know every property has a premium. Every new launch is definitely there's a premium you need to pay. You cannot say that I want to pay low. We need to know, but the question is we need to know how much premium does it make sense to work. So bear with me, follow through this because if you miss this portion, right, I can guarantee you're going to make mistakes, okay, in terms of selection. And this is very impartial. I'm not basing this on because I favor one project against another. I'm just using data and numbers to decide which one to me in terms of ranking is better. So this one is something that we need to look at. So let us look at from a pricing perspective. Let's look at Chong Park first. Okay, so this is Chong Park. All right, Chong Park, right? Today, if let's say today we look at the youngest property, okay, the youngest property is the Scala, right? And then we have Chong Park. So how do we determine what's the average pricing, right? Let us take a look at our our price trend, right? So from here, you can see that, let's say, look at Scala. These are all live data. So this gives us a good position when we are doing our research. Here we can actually access quite a fair bit of information. And if we look at sale portion, right, let's just look at the 3-bedroom. Okay, 3-bedroom. So you can see from 3-bedroom, right, the 9th floor, which is recently just transacted, is at about 1,700 plus per square foot. Okay, so this is the benchmark. That means in this year, people are willing to accept uh, older property, which is since 2013, about 15 years ago. 15 years property at about 1.788. So this is the gap that we are looking at. All right, so follow through with me. So if it's about, let's say, 1,007, let's say 1,007 per square foot, XX per square foot. So let's say Chuan Park, how long will they actually want to, how much do they want to launch? Maybe, I don't know, 2006. Okay, maybe 2006 per square foot. Just an indication. So the number of the years, just take note. Scala is at 2013, and this one will be at by 2028. So they give you a good indication like how much the price gap is. And we're talking about how much from here. How much is the gap? It's 900. So yes, okay, plus minus there. So then today, because of their gap is 15 years, okay, about 15 years, you want to determine what is a safe per year jump. So if we work out this amount, right, let us just take a look. If let's say we're talking about average, your average per year is about $128 per square foot. Even at 2005 per square foot, okay, your average will be 117 per square foot. I want you all to take note of this number first so that you can use it later on as we move forward. Okay. So based on this, right, you must understand that today I want to give you some examples of what is the average for other developments so that you have some ideas of how some of the prices are. All right, so let us take a look at riverfront residences. Okay, riverfront. So I want to compare a resale and a new launch within a certain location. Okay, let's just pull out the entire development so that we can see what's the trend line, right? And riverfront residences is actually TOP in 2023. And then we have an older developer, which is very close by, which is Riversail. So we want to see how are they matching up against each other in terms of growth, in terms of pricing, in terms of price gap. So here, of course, Riversail is is older. So you can see is, if we look at the same point, right, we're talking about 1,331, 1,313 versus 1,040. So there's a gap about 26%, about 26%. So of course the number of years is different because there are 7 years different. So if you work out this example, right, the difference between this is about $39. All right. So if let's say we compare, let's say Riverfront versus Riversail, okay, they are about $39 difference. Okay, $39 difference PSF per year. Okay, so let's just study so that we can do some comparison. Now let us pull out another development, which is, of course, I want to choose different locations. So this gives us a good idea. So let us use the famous Treasure at Tampines. So Treasure at Tampines, this was TOP about 2023 as well. And if we look at Double Bay Residences, okay, Double Bay. So when we compare, of course, Double Bay is older so they're older by 11 years. You can see that the price gap right now is about 25%. So when we work out the difference, right, the difference is about $24. So they're very similar to Chuan in terms of number of years. So Treasure versus Double per year. Okay, they are about 24.36 PSF per year. Then let us take some more data points because the more data points we have, we can have some understanding. So let us go to Serangoon side at Forest Wood. So Forest Wood is TOP 2020 Forest Wood. Okay. And we will use it to compare the nearby property, which is Sunglade. Okay, they are all very near to the MRT, very close by. So Sunglade, of course, older property. This one is 2003, which means the gap is the longest. Okay, older property. Sunglade is about 17 years different for these two. So let us pull out. You can see, wow, a lot of difference. So the price gap for this one is about 34%. All right, so of course it's older, and that's why Forest Wood is going to sell much, much higher during that time. And if you talk about Forest Wood versus Sunglade, the pricing is about $21 per square foot per year. So can you see, if we talk about on average, right, we're talking about this kind of numbers. And if you look at Chuan, we're talking about 3-digit. Right? The rest are all always about double-digit. And this is how we look at price comparison. So the question is, the price gap for this, is it too high in comparison to other developments? So let us take a look. So this is Chuan, 3-digit, $100 per square foot. So let us take a look. Let's say we use, let's now move to the east side. Let's now move to the east side, and we compare both Tembusu Grand, since that one is the youngest, right? So we can use that as a good benchmark. Tembusu Grand. And the next older property there is what? Cape Cod, right? So we will compare with Cape Cod. So we compare with Cape Cod, then we can have an estimate of how much per PSF per year jump, and is there a huge premium that we are looking at? So this gives us a good guideline. Because Cape Cod is you can see a lot of difference. Of course, we are using the youngest to compare. So it's about 30% in terms of the differences. And for Cape Cod versus Tembusu Grand, right? Okay, so let us take a look. So for Cape Cod versus Tembusu, it's a 19 years difference, about $30 per square foot per year. So Emerald of Katong is going to be 1 year younger. And if they launch at 2004 per square foot, I'm just using this as a guide, it's about $28.80 per PSF per year. Okay, so this, just take note of the number. So you can see this is a vast comparison versus Chuan. So now let's look at High Grove area. Nava Grove area. So because Nava Grove, we can use Pi Tree as a guide. Okay, we use Pi Tree as a guide, and we compare to the next youngest property, okay, which is Trizon. So we use Trizon to pair out. So you can see that when we are using data, we are able to deep dive a little bit better in terms of how the developments are going to be. Okay, so if we still look at this, can you see the number of prices and the number of years? So the difference is about 15.81%. So the gap is actually very small. So Trizon is 2012, Pine Tree is going to be about 10 over years, right? And for this, when we look at the numbers, if we compare between Pine Tree versus Trizon, it works out to be about $27 per square foot per year. So if Nava, right? If Nava launch, okay, this one is EOK. So let's say Nava launch between 2.2K to 2.3K. I think this is going to be a crazy steal, to be honest. Okay, if they launch, because why? You can see Pine Tree is already 2003. Now went out to 2005. You see, so if they really launch it at 2002, 2003, right, your gap is even much smaller. This one is no-brainer. It's really no-brainer to really look into if you are very sensitive in terms of pricing, right? So this is something that I believe is it is very important in terms of price gap. Because out of Emerald Katong and Nava, we're talking about still the double digit. But Chuan goes up to 3 digit. So is there a reason why this pricing is like that? For me, I just look at how much of a difference are we going to look at it lah. Okay. So with that, right, my ranking for the three of them, okay, Chuan, we are talking about averagely about $117 per square foot per year difference. And Emerald Katong is about $28, and Nava Grove is about $27 per square foot per year. All right. So my Chuan Park, of course, ranked number 3. Emerald Katong is ranked number 2, and Nava is number 1 because I believe the price gap is the lowest. And of course, all this still depending on how much they're going to launch. So I'm just giving you all some guidelines on how do we actually compare the properties based on this. Okay. So of course, like for Rachel, when she came on board, she was also very confused. Okay, the more too much information to digest, the more she read, the more she confused. All right, so she was very scared to make the next move amidst the high interest and inflation situation. So of course, when we came on for our one-on-one discussion, right, they had a better understanding about their current situations, and we went in very detail about the current and future property, how it will affect them. So we provide them with possible routes based on their objective. I'm here to facilitate, not to tell you what to do. And we use stats, charts, and past trends like how I show you. So this is how we guide you through the selection process. Okay, so during your balloting will be all the way with you, and that will actually help you do a better positioning as well. Okay, so I want to quickly move on to layout. Layout is very important. Okay, so we're going to cover 2 and 3 bedrooms. Okay, because these two are, I think, it's worth to understand. And as for the other layouts, if you want to look at, you can either check out the videos or you can reach out back to us. We will help you deep dive into which kind of facing, which kind of layout, even the floor level, which one is better for you, because there's a lot of different comparison. So I'm going to do a very quick summary on this so that you can have a comparison between the 2 and the 3 bedrooms. And I specifically choose those that is very similar. That means if I choose a dumbbell, I will choose all dumbbell so that we can see the size and we can see the layout as well. Okay, cool. So remember, I do your homework. This because there are many different layouts for different sizes also, or different types also. So if you really want a second opinion, do reach out quickly before you put in a check, or you rather have somebody to guide you, then you put in a check. At least you feel safer. All right. So based on all these 3, the dimensions are already there. Of course, you must always take note that for Chuan Park is under non-harmonization. The rest of the 2 are already harmonized. So which means the AC latch are not included. So typically for the harmonization, their sizes are definitely smaller. But if you can see from here, Nava actually created their 2 plus study a little bit bigger. Okay, they created a little bit bigger. So we're going to study the layout first, then we're going to start seeing where the facings are. So based on ABC, you can see that today Chuan Park, what they have provided is they provided you an open concept kitchen. I particularly prefer, if let's say a 2 bedroom, I would rather have this kind of open concept because it kind of unblock and it gives a bit more space. Okay, so and with dumbbell, there's nothing to complain about dumbbell because it's more efficiency, use of space, and your room size are actually very, very comfortable. So the only thing that I believe is that today, what can you do with this study? Okay, study, they purposely put it into a bedroom 2 side so that you can double it up as a study corner. And some I have seen what they converted here into is a walk-in wardrobe, additional bigger walk-in wardrobe space. And or not, you can actually enclose this entire thing. So you have a bigger ensuite. So this becomes a master room instead of the actual master room. So this is something that you can play around with it. So Chuan Park, 2 bedroom, nothing much to complain about. Then we look at Emerald Katong. All right, so this is definitely everybody's personal preference because this is a tuck-in kitchen. Okay, so you have a kind of a narrower kind of entrance to go in. And for 2 bedroom, I don't know. I always believe if today you already are buying a 2 bedroom, you can already accept it being an open concept. So being tucked in, the only thing is going to be darker. It don't have the kind of space that you want. So this is something that I believe will be a little bit more worrying. And also, if you take a look at the dining, okay, the dining is like right at the bathroom. So is this something that you want to be eating your meals in front of the toilet? This one something to think of. Because if you look at Chuan, right, they have this space. It's a little bit tight, okay, but they have this space that is catered for dining that you can actually do those cafe kind of backing of sittings instead of a movable one. So then you have more space and you have a proper living at the area. So between these two, of course, I prefer the Chuan kind of layout where you have a catered space for dining. Or the rest of the configuration is very similar. They also have a kind of ensuite kind of situation for their study to the bedroom, right? So bear in mind, because this is harmonized, so the size wise, even though it's 689, it is actually equivalent to a normal 730, 740 kind of layout being pre-harmonized. All right. Then when we come to Nava, okay, so Nava again is a very long walkway. If it's though it's a tuck-in kitchen, most two bedrooms are all ventilated, no windows, no nothing. So being tucked in, I don't know. I always find it a little bit too claustrophobic. So I'd rather have it more open. And this configuration is a bit different because for Nava, the interesting part is they are able to provide you a store. They provide you a store, and the study is there for you all to actually make use of it. So this kind of configuration is a little bit more, slightly better because why? I can turn this study into maybe a smaller room now, a very small room, okay, single bed maybe. Then you can do storage bed so that you can have more space for storage, and then your wardrobe, I don't know, put it outside or something because you have access to the bath. So even if you have guests using guest room, right, they can have their own access into the bathroom, which is a good touch. Okay. If you look at, let me see. Yeah. So Chuan also have. No, actually Chuan, yeah, Chuan, the guests also have to use here. So this one you can easily configure another third room out if you want to. So then the rest will have their own space. So I usually, I mean, this is about 6 square meters, right? Yeah, it's a little bit tight, but it's still functional, if you ask me. So will people use it as a room? I highly doubt so. But this is another configuration that you can look at. And because of the dining, you can see the dining is kind of right smack in the center of the entrance. Personally, I find that this is going to be cramping up the space. Also, I would rather put the dining where just at the balcony. So I free up more space in the living. I can put shelves. I can put, you know, my deco pieces in a two bedroom. So two bedroom typically are like that. So is moving forward, the layout are not going to do much changes. So of course, dumbbell, you kind of save up a little bit more space. So let's take a look at where the facings are. Okay, so two bedrooms, we're talking about the B2, right? So we're talking about stack 20. Okay, stack 20. So stack 20 is facing inwards to the pool area. This is a kids adventure area. But the good thing is that the distance to the next block is about 85 meters. Okay, 85 meters. So which is good distance. So which means in Chuan you can also select the inwards facing. But will inwards facing be more premium? It will definitely be also certain. It will not be the highest premium if you ask me, because in Chuan you do have unblocked landed views. So those definitely will be more premium at the higher floors. Then we have stack 18. Stack 18 is here. Okay, also inward facing. Here you are facing the clubhouse area. So depending on how high you want to go for. For this kind, I will definitely go for higher so that you can kind of pass the entrance area, and you kind of have a little bit more longer, further away view. So this is something that we can look out for. But if you're somebody who enjoy the facilities, then go for lower floors. So usually lower floors for this kind, they will not load in too much, okay, because higher floors more expensive, especially if you're higher floors with views. Then we have next one is stack 2. Okay, stack 2. So stack 2 is the only one that is unblocked. Okay, unblocked. And this facing is, of course, to the road, but if you're high enough, it clears off all the way to the landed view. So this is definitely going to be more premium. Stack 45, okay, inwards facing, 85 meters, no issue. For this kind that is far enough, I'm okay to just no need to go for super high floor, no point. Okay, so I also seeing the next block. So this, for the inward facing one, I will go for lower floors usually. And stack 29, you can also consider. Okay, stack 29, you can also consider. It's the landscaping pool, so the distance is also quite comfortable. So remember, if you're thinking about for Chuan is 732 square feet, 2 bed, 2 bath. Okay, this is a dumbbell unit. Okay, you want to consider some of all this. So let us look at Emerald Katong. For the 689, you have stack 18. Where is it? Stack 18. Okay, stack 18. Okay, this is, I mean, Emerald Katong is you see me, I see you, or the distance is about 640 over meters. So it's definitely closer. Can you imagine? Emerald Katong is 40 over meters, then for Chuan is double the space. So that's why the density is important. Okay. And then we have stack 12. Stack 12 is facing outwards. So this one is facing Hiccup. Okay, so this facing, you want to go lower, doesn't matter. Of course, Hiccup will be on block or not, we don't know, question mark. But that's why I'd rather go for lower floors. It doesn't matter. And we have stack 5. Stack 5 is here. Stack 5 is also inward facing the pool. I think it's very comfortable to go for lower floors. And I think the landscaping in front, if you're going lower floor, you don't feel like you're seeing the next block. That's most important. And then we have stack 29. Let's see, 29 is 29. No, not 29. This is B4S. Let me see. That's all. So these are the few, the three facing that we can look at. Oh, so let me take a look. Let me make sure that this is B4S. B4S. Is there another one? There should be another one. If I don't. Here. Stack 39. Okay, stack 39 is inward facing. But this one, you just take note that because there is a so-called the area here, right? So the nursing home is going to be here. So if you want to clear this, you also must take note that the nursing home is 9-story. Okay, would it affect you a lot? It may not, but at least if you can clear this side, you can actually see the park. But do take note of the nursing home, which is 9-story configuration. All right, so this is some of the directions you can look at. Then for Nava, right? I think Nava, the layout is actually very straightforward. It's only stack 4 and stack 5. And the good thing is that this is seeing your developments in terms of the landscaping and facilities. Also, this is very nice with low floor, very nice. High floor, even likely nicer. Why? Let me show you in the next slide. Because today, you're not only getting your own view, you're also getting Pine Tree Hills Visual Development. So can you see your view, right? You can get A and you can get B. And the distance is very, very comfortable. Easily more than 82 meters away. Okay, 82 meters, you can see here, 82 meters. Okay, oops. Yeah, 82 meters, you all can see. All right, so almost 82 meters away, and then you get the other's perspective of Pine Tree Hill. So this is, I believe this is premium. And if you enjoy this kind of further away distance, also be prepared to pay a little bit more premium on this one. Okay, very important. All right, cool. All right, so next we want to go for, now let's take a look. Let's rank them based on the layout, based on the facing. Every day we take them into consideration. Okay, for more details of the others, you may want to just check out my other videos. All right, so rank number 3, we have Emerald Katong. Okay, in my opinion, this is not the best in terms of the layout and the facings. And of course, we have Nawa Grove being second and Chong Park being third. All right, so moving forward, let's look at layout 3. So layout 3, also again, because of harmonization, for Emerald and Nava, they should be hovering about 990 square feet, and then for Chuan Park will be about 1,023, and they are very, very similar in terms of how they look at it. So I also particularly choose something that they have a kind of a similar kind of entrance, or as much as we can. Okay, we try to have that so that everybody will say, hey, this is like a wasted space or not, but we use the same configuration. So for Chuan Park, what they have done is they have created a kitchen. Okay, a kitchen here. And this is something that you have a WC. I think this is an additional space. So of course, you're liking a yard area, but this kind of configuration don't have. But if you want a yard, then you have to go for the next bigger 3-bedroom size, which will definitely come with yard. So the layout wise, everything is actually very standardized across all board. And the only thing is that this one right now, they have a household shelter. So do take note, household shelter you cannot remove it. So with this household shelter, would it make it a little bit more inflexible in terms of your design, that you want to use it as an open area, you cannot? So this is a big consideration factor you want to go in for. Then for Emerald Katong, even though the size is 990, you can see the efficiency layout. They are able to create even a yard and a WC. Okay, so a lot of people say, hey, harmonization is not good, not good, not good. But efficiency of layout, how do they fix it is important. So Simian does a great job because they have managed to put in a WC as well as a yard. And on top of that, you have an additional study area which is open that you can make use of. That means this is not a household shelter. You can do a lot of things with it. Okay, so the space-wise is definitely much more doable. Okay, and even if let's say you're a young family, this is definitely something that you can start off with because with 3 rooms, even with your kids grow up, you can continue to stay there for the next 10 to 15 years. No issue. And for Nava Grove, so the Nava Grove difference is that today they are the same size, but you can see that they are lacking a what? A yard. Okay, they don't have a yard, but they have a kind of a slightly both levels of the kitchen countertop, but they lack a WC and a yard. And they don't have a space for study. So give and take, of course, their rooms and everything is bigger. So this is something that you need to see what do you actually need in terms of the layout. So let us take a look at facing. So Chuan, right, for the 3 bedroom facing, right, we have a few. So Chuan always try to give quite a fair bit because the land plot is bigger, right? So we have stack 3. Stack 3 is unblocked again. Okay, landed view, unblocked. Stack 4, let me see, where's stack 4? Stack 4. This one you see another project. Okay, Spring Bloom. Remember, Spring Bloom is 17 story. So if you want to clear, you have to go above 17th floor. Oh. Then stack 42. Stack 42, where is, okay, stack 42, same thing. You see Spring Bloom. Okay, and then you also see Scala. The other one is stack 31, which is here. Okay, this one see the Nanyang JC track. So here is kind of unblocked a little bit. So let me show you from a view perspective. So if you're talking about stack 31, you're kind of here, you see, and then if you're in between, kind of see Scala as well as the Spring Bloom, okay? And of course, if you're facing this way, you definitely unblock landed view. So this one definitely will be more premium that you can go for in Chuan. For Emerald Katong, for the 990 square feet unit, we have stack 21. Stack 21 is here. This is facing what? Your future development. At the moment, nothing yet. So if you prefer to enjoy full quietness over the next 10 to 15 years, then you may want to what? You may want to look into this as a consideration factors. Another one is stack 29. Stack 29 is here. So this is inward facing, safer. All right. So of course your distance to the other block is about 44 meters only. So this is also something you must take note of if you're considering this layout. For Nava, the tree is only one, which is stack 7. Only one stack. So where is stack 7 facing? We can take a look. Basically, you have a view to the lawn and Dover forest area, but you have to be, let me just clear this so that you can see, after 10th floor. So you have to be above 10th floor, then you can kind of clear what you need. So in ranking, based on this tree, my own opinion, Nava Grove coming third because the layout don't have WC, don't have a yard, don't even have a study. And Chuan, not too bad. You still have a household shelter, which is very, very important, and there's a WC there. Emerald really comes in top in terms of layout because you got a WC, you got a yard, and there's an additional study. I don't know how they do it. Again, others people cannot. That's why layout and developer also plays a part whenever you buy, because that contributes to your what? Resale value. All right. Like for Susanna, when she came on board with us, right? When they wanted to buy the property, they also realized they lack a lot of knowledge. Okay, and they want to plan their property journey for the coming years into the future. So we went through quite a fair bit of in-depth sessions to help them cover a lot of grounds, right? And during that period, then we realized actually they wanted originally to look at long term, but based on their plans, they realized, after understanding, they get more clarity. They want to go for a shorter term kind of arrangement. So we went through the market, the future market upbuild, and through that, they feel more confident and secure. And this is exactly what we want to help you look into in terms of your selection, especially during a chaotic launch period like this. It's going to be very important. So let us summarize. Okay, which one actually, okay, the lower the point, the better. The lower the point, the better. So you can see that for future growth, Chuan actually comes in number 1 position. Even MRT effect is also number 1 position. And for school effect, Emerald Katong is the top. And for price gap, Nava Grove actually stands out most out of the three. And for the 2-bedroom configuration, if you are going for it, I think Chuan Park layout and facing actually wins above. And 3-bedroom specifically, if you're looking for a smaller entry, I think Emerald Katong fits very, very well. And with that, you can see the top choice in terms of ranking, Chuan Park, based on data and research, comes out on top at on total 10 points. Emerald Katong, very close, 11. So, and Nava Grove at 15. So actually for this, you can actually see how they line up. And of course, they line up this way. I purposely put on, it's just a coincidence. Okay, that this is done this way. All right, so I hope that this also gives you a good clarity on, of course, these are just some of the points that we use. Of course, there are a 15-point checklist that we use before you even go into selection process. And that's why we will always do, before that, a few configuration. Okay, so I want to just give you all a few takeaways. All right, always remember your affordability limit. Okay, you don't want to, because of the hype, right? You buy in and then you realize you actually overpay, or your finances are going to be very strong. It's going to be very stressed on you. Okay, stress on you. Let's not do that. You must always have a certain buffer. So always run through your affordability and limitations. What is the pricing that you need to walk away if it really goes beyond and above and beyond? Okay. The second thing is that unit selection versus your affordability. You must always balance these two. Everybody would like to go for the highest floor, the biggest unit. But if your affordability is really going to stress you up, please know how to walk away, or have somebody there to tell you, don't do it. Okay, we have done many, many times with our clients that we really ask them not to consider, because either the pricing is not good, or the facing, or whichever the situation, we ask them to walk away because we have backup. We have alternative solutions for them that is safer. All right, that is what we here to help you all to do. Very important. Third thing is your per floor and facing strategy. And you cannot do this on that day itself. It's going to be too late. It's going to be too chaotic, too confusing. You're going to be FOMO. So we always want to do this prior to that, at least 1 to 2 sessions, right? We really dive into the numbers, the facing, the strategy, what is our requirements, and using our 15-point checklist, guide you to make an informed decision when we do the selection process. Okay, because you only have very short time. Like 5-10 minutes, you need to make a decision that quick. It's going to be confusing one for you. So we want to do it beforehand, or we do more work. We prepare ahead. We over prepare ahead. Very important. Also, your best case alternative. Let's say worst case, wow, your queue number, you queue already, your unit selection no more. Are you going to select the second one, third one, fourth one, 10th one? We don't know. Are there any other developments that could actually be in comparison that you can accept? Let us do all this prep beforehand. And last but not least is your walkaway price. How much is the premium that you're willing to pay? Is it too high that the pricing it don't make sense anymore? We need to make sure all these are being calculated way before using all this. Okay, so I hope that today give you guys a very quick overview. All right, and of course, if any of these launches that you're kind of wanting to explore a little bit more, do scan the QR code. We are already taking in so sorry, timing in terms of your queuing, because we want to give you all the best experience. So my role is also to help you book the time slot ahead so that we can have the best experience. And when we discuss, we have more time to actually go through in terms of your finances, in terms of your needs and wants and requirements. So for some of you who are still who are coming in for the first time, you want to scan the QR code and you want to get in touch with us so that we can actually help you position your property selection a lot better than anyhow guessing. I'm not here to scare you all. It is really very panicky one if you have not done your homework. Okay, so our clients, when they go through this journey with us, they all feel very safe, very safe. And especially if, let's say today you're really undecided, hey, which one should I go for? Let us help you get more clarity about your requirements, your needs and wants, so that you can actually understand and be confident what is the path and direction you should go for. So this is something that I believe every homeowner, you're not buying vegetables, like you're really buying a big ticket item. So why not do your part? Okay, let us do your part. You do your part, we do our part to guide you through this process so that you feel safer, you feel confident before you even do the selection process. Okay, last thing you want is really you buy already, everything happy, or then you go back, you regret your decision. Then you start going online, then you chance upon my video, then you watch it, then you say, I never thought about this criteria. I never thought about this thing. damn it, did I buy wrongly or not? So this will happen because there will always be what we call a buyer syndrome, right? Buyer after syndrome. If you are having a buyer syndrome every time when you buy a property, and then you kind of not say regret, but you kind of ask yourself, is this the right one? Then chances are you have not done enough work. Okay, we want to prep all these things beforehand. And do you all agree it's a lot of work? It's a lot of work that we're doing here. So we cannot be on that day that we spend the time to do it. So we want to do everything beforehand. Right. So with that, I really thank you guys for your time, and do scan the QR code so that we have enough buffer to help you and your families create a better property journey. And with that, I shall see you guys real soon, and keep in touch, or just follow my channel, subscribe so that you can get weekly updates about property education and strategies for you as a busy professionals and homeowner. This is Coach Edmund Tan. Okay, let me do this so that we can see each other one more time. If not, you all don't know who is how. Okay, so with that, thank you so much. I'll see you guys real soon in one way or another. Cheers.